Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this panel discussion. We are going to talk about biotech. We are going to talk about biotech and Switzerland. So I am Frédéric Girard. I'm the president of France Biotech. France Biotech is the professional association of French health tech companies. So we have members developing drug, medical device, and digital solution in health, and it's a very dynamic ecosystem because you have in France around 2,800 startups in health, including around 850 biotech. Some ecosystem that's growing. We have new company as compared to last year, and we have, of course, a larger staff base. So we are going to talk about biotech and Switzerland. So Switzerland is not a very large market, as you know, not a very large pharma market. But this is a third market in terms of partnership, and the first one in terms of value of partnership for biotech, and the third market in terms of capital investment in Europe. So, and when we look at what the French biotech company are doing, and of course they all look at the foreign market, and they are immediately international given the challenge of developing a new molecule. Switzerland is one of the locations of the subsidiary of the French biotech company, showing the concrete interest of the French ecosystem to Switzerland. So we have three panelists, distinguished panelists. I will ask you to introduce yourselves one after the other, and maybe to start explaining how you are involved in the French-Swiss partnership for biotech. So starting with Paul.
Thank you, Frédéric. Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Bravetti. I'm the CEO of Brennus Pharma. I'm also administrator of France Biotech. So Brennus Pharma, we are a French biotech, and so we are involved into a collaboration thanks to a Neurostars project funded by BPI and InnoSwiss. About 1.5 million euro, and we have collaborated actually with a company named Inspero, which is a Swiss company specialized in 3D models. Very nice to be with you.
Thank you, Paul. Colette for InnoSwiss.
Thank you for having me here this afternoon. So I represent InnoSwiss, which is the Swiss funding agency. We do similar things on a smaller matter than BPI does, of course. We're also a smaller country. And I'm also the Eureka National Project Manager. So I manage the project with my colleagues, which are of international nature and which are funded nationally.
Thank you, Colette. And finally, Léonard from the Swiss Embassy in Paris.
Yes, thank you, Frédéric. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, BPI, for hosting this event. And so my name is Léonard Dolivo. I'm leading the section that deals with economics, science, and also finance in the Swiss Embassy in Paris. Our work is very broad. It's to promote the dialogue between the two countries, to represent Switzerland in France. And that would be that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. So my first question will go to Léonard. So if you could give us just a view on the biotech and innovation environment in Switzerland, and also the political and economic framework between France and Switzerland.
Yes, thank you, Frédéric. So everything about biotech, I speak under your control because you know the domain much better than me. But maybe to begin with, I think in the title of the event, it's written the conquest by French biotech of European market. And in the case of Switzerland, I would be a bit provocative, and I would say it's already a mutual conquest, and it has already partly occurred because the interconnections, the links between the two countries are very intense. On a very broad level, economical relationship, I can give one number that is very evocative. It's the number of investments from Switzerland in France, and Switzerland is the third investor in France for an amount of 105 billion. Before Switzerland, there is US and Germany, but that's quite an impressive number, almost difficult to explain actually, and that's partly by the role of the pharma also. So that's that's one example. Other examples, I think there are about 1,000 Swiss companies that are active in France, that have a business in France, and they are creating about 300,000 jobs. Of course, there are also such numbers on the other side, French companies in Switzerland. And maybe a word, all of this is rooted in a very intense also human connection. The both citizen community abroad is the largest for the both country. It means that there are about 200,000 Swiss in France, and mutually it's also a number like that. So there is really a human connection that is maybe at the center of all those economical numbers. Still a point about innovation. It is of course very, on biotech, there are very important domains for both countries. In Switzerland, there is this configuration where you have the big pharma companies, very giants. I don't have to name them active in the domain of the pharma, and they are actually coexisting with very small innovative startups that are existing in the ecosystem, like the Polytechnic Federal Schools, and both of them have a good combination. So, and I would say it's very complementary with the French, with France, because France is a larger market, and we have a mutual interest in this regard. And maybe I can quote still another number that's few known, but the World Intellectual Property Organization, they're making an Innovation Global Index, and Switzerland was, I think, last year first again, and it was the 14th time in a row. I think that was the case. So we have to show off sometimes, no? So that would be the general framework.
Thank you for that overview. And so my next question would be for Paul. So you are leading one of the most regarded biotech now in France, so Brennus Pharma, and I would be interesting to know more about the company and the milestone you just achieved recently. And you have also developed a partnership with Insfero in Switzerland. So it would be interesting to know more about this collaboration.
Yeah, thank you very much for the nice word. So Brennus Pharma, we are developing a platform that helps actually to generate new kind of immunotherapeutics, what we call in vivo immunotherapeutics to fight cancer. Why we name it in vivo? It's because actually we can unlock directly the immune system of the patient to target evolving tumor cells and to destroy it as soon as they appear. And so right now we are just entering clinical stage in colorectal cancer, metastatic one in first line. So it's a very exciting moment for us. And regarding this collaboration with Insfero, they are specialized in advanced models, 3D models, spheroids models, tumoroid models. And what is interesting is that this model right now are not developed for immunotherapeutics, new generation of immunotherapeutics. So what we deliver together is a new kind of model that is extrapolating the most to the human condition, and that is helping us to predict the efficacy, to accelerate the time to clinical stage, and also to help us to anticipate and to prioritize our new assets as well. So yeah, it was a very, very nice collaboration with them.
So you will tell us more about the tips and tricks later. So one of the milestones you didn't mention is that you have been successfully refinancing Brennus at the beginning of the year, and financing is a key issue for biotech. It's a key challenge. It's very much capital intensive. So, and we have a specialist of financing innovative company with Colette. So can you tell us more about the funding instruments that are available? Yeah. And also, because some funding instruments are working between the two countries, France and Switzerland. So how it is working between InnoSwiss and BPI for some of the instruments?
Okay, I'm happy to do that. Maybe first, both BPI and InnoSwiss work together within the Eureka network. This is a network of 40 countries, including the European Union. They are a partner there. We have developed instruments for funding where we use national funding to actually fund international projects. So this is where your project comes in within Eurostars. We have two funding instruments. We have Eurostars or Eureka Network projects. Both of them have a little bit different setup, and they also have a different evaluation. But in the end, it makes companies from Switzerland and from France work together and also get funding for working together. Eurostars is a call-based event. I have one slide here where you can find out who to talk to at BPI and at InnoSwiss about these questions. Eurostars is a call-based instrument, and we have one application, we have one evaluation, and that's why it's so beautiful. So it's just one evaluation for all the participants, and the funding is done according to a ranking list, which BPI and InnoSwiss and Vinnova in Sweden and all the others also accept. And this is how we work together on a very successful international basis. We're actually 4th in the ranking with France with our project over the last 10 years, after Germany, which we will concede. We are smaller than Germany, so we'll give in to them. And we have a very good exchange. So if there's questions from the companies already before they apply, talk to us, shoot us an email. We're happy to be in touch with you. We're happy to look at the problems that you have and find ways to work together.
It looks very interesting, so I am going to ask you a question we didn't plan to ask, but
Try
coming to my mind. Can you give us an idea of the amount of money that we are talking about, you know, for the project? And in terms of investing, spending this money, it should be in France, in Switzerland, in both, and on what kind of project? Is it building a factory, doing fundamental research?
Yeah.
Can you give us more detail
Absolutely.
about that project?
So InnoSwiss, for one, has a very research-based policy on funding, and Eurostars is also a very research-based idea behind it. It's really to make the companies grow their ideas that they have at home. Maybe they have to set up a plant, in this case, which is, of course, usually quite a costly thing. So we try, with the biotech project, we try and break them down into sort of modules and do it modularly. A usual project has around 2 to 3 partners and maybe 1.5 million euro as a number, just to put a number on it.
Thank you very much. So now to Paul. Tell us how it is to work with Swiss people. So, and I mean, Swiss embassy is on the stage, so feel free to share, you know, your experience in full transparency. To be more serious, what recommendation? How did you feel, you know, building that collaboration, and how was it on a day-to-day? What recommendation you would give to the audience?
Yeah, firstly, it's very easy to work with Swiss company. I mean, we have the same language, we have the same culture, we are not so far geographically speaking, so it's easy then to meet up. So yeah, I would say it's a country that it's easy to work on. They have a lot of technology there. They can help us to accelerate. So yeah, it was not a difficult point. But after saying that, and it's not because of Switzerland or because of another country, it's just regarding this type of collaboration of consortium, there is specific tips, operational tips to have in mind and to anticipate from the beginning. I would say the first one is, for example, before even submitting a project, you need to speak with your partner about the consortium. What will be the consortium agreement? What will be the shared IP, for example? What will be the freedom to operate at the end? So this is very important, because if you don't speak it previously, then during the project you can have a lot of difficulty and a lot of challenges. Then I would say one other practical point is to anticipate and to validate that your partner will put the same effort than you in your project. Regarding the FTE they will involve, regarding the time, regarding the invest as well they will involve. And this is very important, because it's how you can anticipate it will be a win-win condition for both of you and that your project will reach the timeline. And regarding the timeline, it's also very important to have a really combined management process to be sure that when you set up a timeline or a milestone, you set up it with their validation as well, with both validation. And so, yeah, I think it's few tips that really need to be anticipated even before submission of this kind of project.
And in terms of intellectual property, patent, so there is no disalignment between the regulations, so you can easily define what is an invention, both from the Swiss and the French side?
Yeah, and we are in the European Commission, so regarding the patent, I mean, you don't have some difficulty you can have with, I don't know, China or India, for example. So you can be actually quite confident that when you fix the rules, you will follow the rules. And that's why you need to speak about it previously, because you can have sometimes it's complicated to know when we will do something together, what will be the patents that is coming from us or from them, and then what will be the shared, what will be the license we will put behind this patent, for example, for the exploitation after that. So, yeah, I think there is a lot of things to discuss, but this is not because of Switzerland or the country, it's because of the concept of this kind of non-dilutive project.
But I would say that given the similarities in the culture, it's probably easier, as you mentioned, to discuss with Swiss companies than Chinese or Indian company for sure. So Colette, you mentioned a lot about financing support. So what are the other support we can imagine for a French company who wants to develop partnership with the Swiss ecosystem?
Well, I would recommend, if they're looking for a partner, they could use Europe Enterprise Network. I see Camille is nodding, so yes, use the Europe Enterprise Network. They have a service that set up a profile for your company, and you can actually look for someone in another region with a sort of a question or a challenge, what you're looking for, and they can send that out over the whole of Europe and maybe also to Switzerland and find a partner. So that's one thing that we offer. And then InnoSwiss specifically offers mentoring. We offer mentoring to our companies who want to undertake these kind of projects. The mentor comes in, he looks at the company, he looks at what they want to do, asks the right questions, and helps them really reach these goals. This can also be to undertake the submission of the project, make decisions on like a consortium agreement, things like that. So it's always handy to call in a mentor, and we offer that free of charge to our Swiss companies with whomever they set up their project with.
That's a very interesting point, because there is an historical culture on pharma industry, all aspects of preclinical, clinical, industrial development. So you probably have very solid mentors.
Yes, we have very well-versed people.
So is that open for French company, and under what condition? Because
that
I believe this
unfortunately isn't open for French companies, but for Swiss companies. And if they're dealing with their French counterparts, they can also benefit from this as well.
So Paul, you want
but
to add something?
with BPI, with BPI, you have the same actually mentoring possibility.
And by the way, with France Biotech as
yeah,
well.
Of course.
But,
yeah.
Wanted to. So, and maybe we may have some partnership to think about exchanging those programs and bring more people on board.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have heard the feedback, Leonard. We have heard the feedback from Paul about French company working with Swiss partners. So what is the viewpoint from the Swiss partner regarding working with French biotech company? Do you have the same feedback? Do they consider it as a productive partnership? And the second question is, we talk about also about engaging partnership with Swiss for a French with Swiss company. Do you have the reverse example of a Swiss company finding partners in France as well?
Yes, thank you. And maybe first of all, I noticed that Paul was very positive about Swiss culture, and I guarantee we didn't do any pressure on him, so I hope. But joking apart, I think maybe a good example of maybe a typical success story, a typical story, is the story of this company, Sophia Genetics. Maybe you have heard of that. This is a company that was born in 2011 in Switzerland, in Lausanne, at the Polytechnic Federal School of Lausanne, in the innovation park. And it's a company that is doing genomics analysis in an oncological context or rare disease context to make personalized medicine, to make data-driven medicine. And they grew up, they are now active internationally, and they need that because their clients are in our hospitals, and they have much more diversity also in the genomes that they are studying, so that give them more precious information. And in any case, now they are listed in the Nasdaq since 2021, I think. And what's interesting is that the CEO from this company is actually a French person. The founder is French, and they've extended to fund two research and development centers in France, I think in Gironde and in Pays Basque. And they're also using, to say so, the French innovation ecosystem. So that's a typically reverse story. And I guess otherwise there are a lot of companies in France that are implementing without problem in the pharma domain, in the food and in the industry. The chain values are all very intricate, so it's really working well. I guess the environment are not the same. You have to understand, of course, I'm not a businessman, but I hear that a lot. You have to understand the French ecosystem, all the rules, the possibilities, but that's actually always like that when you're working with another country. Thank you.
And another added value, I think, to work with a Swiss company, for us it was interesting because in Sphero they have some license with big pharma. You mentioned it. You have, I mean, big pharma company in Swiss, Novartis, Roche, and then you can have some contact per proxy actually. When you work with somebody that has already some interaction with them, then you can bring an interaction as well directly with them.
And Leonard, how those companies are assessing, the French environment? Do they find it complex, more complex than Switzerland, or comparable?
I guess it's a tricky question, and my colleagues from the Swiss Business Hub could better answer it. I would say they see it as different. We have our own issues in the Swiss ecosystem. In France, it's the European Union, so it's another ecosystem. So you have to be agile to adapt, but that's typically what the Swiss companies used to do also, because it's a very, very small market, Switzerland, so they have any way to adapt to other ecosystems. I'm answering very diplomatically to your question.
We know where you are working, so I'm not completely surprised. But I agree with you that there is no ecosystem that is absolutely perfect, and each ecosystem is having its strengths and weakness. And what we have to do is to benchmark and try to find the optimal way. Thank you for your time. To conclude that panel discussion, maybe I would ask you to give one example, one tip, or one opportunity to come when speaking about partnership in biotech between France and Switzerland. So what would be your recommendation, your advice, the direction you suggest people to go to explore those opportunities? So starting with you, Leonard, maybe?
Yes, thank you. Maybe two very short tips. The first one, if you are a company that want to invest in Switzerland, we have at the embassy contact people that are present here, the Swiss Business Hub. So you can go to them and they will provide very pragmatical, basic information and services. So you can find it on the web. Of course, the embassy is also here to be a contact point, a focal point. Maybe another thing that I read, there is in Geneva this Biotech campus, and I saw that they are opening now at the end of the year a cluster IA and Biotech. So it's happening now. If you are maybe interested, you could go. Geneva is at the frontier, at the border. So those are my two tips. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leonard. Colette?
Well, I'd like to invite you to come to Switzerland next year, quite openly to the Swiss Biotech Day. It's on the 4th and the 5th of May. And on the 6th, we have the Eureka Innovation Summit. So take that, those 3 days in that week, 4th, 5th, and 6th, come to Basel, check out the BP site. We are expecting around 1,000 people to be there. I mean, come on, we're not comparing to anything that I've seen this afternoon, but we'd love to have you. We have country booths, we have matchmaking facilities, we want you to meet people, talk to people about projects. We're also inviting the whole of the Eureka network, so 40 countries will be there. This ranges all over Europe, but right out to South Korea and South America now, so we'd be happy to have you here.
Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, I think sometimes it could be seen as difficult to do a kind of consortium with a different country toward a big project. But actually, I would encourage everybody to try it, because in this challenging financial context, I would say, I mean, doing this project could help us actually to accelerate your development with non-dilutive funding. And on top of that, if I can give an advice, is when you think about this project, it's not just to get non-dilutive funding, it's also to create value. And you really need to anticipate what value will create with your partner.
Thank you, the three of you, and I certainly, Leonard and Colette, will further discuss with you to have one of the leading Swiss university hospitals attending the conference we organize every year with the network of French university hospitals on the acceleration of the development of innovation between the health tech sector and university hospital. I'm sure there is a lot to learn from your ecosystem. Thank you. We have 3 minutes left for questions, if any. So I don't know if some of you have a question, comment, remarks. So apparently it has been very clear. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to our panelists. And see you in Switzerland.
Pleasure. Thank you.